Once we walked out the door from the house, it was about midday, and that was just to check things out. And flooding had already began at the end of our street, and so, which is not too abnormal because it's flooded a couple of times in that area. But the different thing from this was that every hour the water kept going up and up. Within an hour time, the water went from like my ankles to my knees, and that's when I realized that this was a little bit different from other times. So I came home and told my wife, we really have to go because this thing is not calming down. And within an hour and a half, when I came home, the water was at the curb of our street, and we started just putting things in trash bags and loading it onto my work truck. And by the time that we were set and ready to drive out, it was an hour and a half later. And like I said, the water was at the curb, so an hour and a half later, the water is halfway to our driveway. You know, we have a lab, and we have a mix of a Shih Tzu and a poodle.
Okay.
And so when we were going, we knew we couldn't take the big dog. So this is where I tell you that it's like you're so in the middle of everything going on, you're really not thinking straight, because I knew we couldn't take our big dog with the big family that we had. There was enough space for us to fit into the truck and to put the stuff in the back, but I didn't want to carry my dog in the back. You know, so I thought, let's leave him some food, and you know, things get worse, I'll come back for him. We were in Mejia, which is about an hour and a half away from here, maybe two. And I went that morning, and my kids were really frantic about getting our dog. They were scared he would drown or something. And so the next morning, Monday morning, I go to Walmart in Mejia, buy a kayak, buy a kayak, and come over, because I'm not knowing what I'm going to confront, you know, how I'm going to get back. So I buy a kayak, figure out my way down to the roads on how to get back, because I-45 is closed. Finally get here, and I'm thinking they're not going to let me in, and I finally go up to somebody and ask them if they can take me to my house, who had a boat, so I didn't have to use the kayak. And they kindly said yes, especially because there was a reporter from Univision there, and she wanted to interview people as well. So it kind of fit. So they took me, they brought me. When I jumped out of the boat onto the street, the water was chest high. And once I got into the house, the water was a little bit above my knees, and our dog was on top of the couch, just fine, shooken up. And so I tell them, I'm gonna try to save some stuff. Everybody's still saying water's gonna keep rising. But by that time, there was not much to save. I mean, pretty much all drawers, clothes hanging from the closet, everything porous had pretty much been destroyed. Furniture, things that are signs of life, of home floating around, that really breaks you when you see your house like that, because you treasure your home, it's your home. So when that experience was pretty unique. I'm glad that I experienced it myself and not with my wife, because I think she would have been even more devastated to see everything. Being a father and, you know, a husband, it's just like, okay, this is the situation. Where do we need to go? What do we need now? We've lost our home. We've lost, you know, where we stay, where we sleep, where we eat. We lost our family vehicle. The truck that I was driving belonged to my company. So it's more like problem solving. You're just, as it goes, every day you're like, oh, I don't have this. The next day you figure out, oh, I don't have that either. And the simple things that you have or you take for granted, now you're figuring out, oh, I forgot. I don't have a toaster anymore, you know. And we did find shelter. Our church was kind enough to find someone who was willing to lend us a townhouse for a month. But you get there and you wanna do something, and you remember, I don't have this to do this anymore. That probably for me was a more challenging thing, was how to manage a new life. Because for 6 months, I think it was for me. It's going to work, you still have to go to work. And now I took on the third task, which was rebuilding the house. And on top of that, the whole emotional piece of it with the family and the kids going through, is raining again, Dad, is it gonna flood again? You know, and just, it was just, you're so just trying to balance things out. Everything's shaky and you're trying to figure things out as you go. If there's a picture that comes into my mind about what it is personally to identify with the Houston Strong, I would say it was, or it is, going to work early, because you know you want to come out a little early to come home and work on the house. And after that, go to your family and try to be the dad, like make everything normal. That's, to me, that's Houston Strong. You didn't let it break you. You just confronted it and you did what you could to make it better. I think the biggest thing to me that I can take away as far as a life lesson of what this thing called Harvey has taught me is whatever comes your way and tries to break you down, you're always able to overcome it with your own personal strength and knowledge, with God's help, with the people that God puts around you. There was infinite resources that were put at my disposition to call on. So there was so much that I was able to draw and be able to take from it. An encouragement for those that ever do go through this, or might go through this, or are going through it, is just to never give up and just keep strong. Everything has a season, and while we're still going through the Harvey piece of it, because it's not completely in our past, things will get better.